Today I have Ginger Scott. Thank you so much for taking some time out of your day. I know you've got a lot coming up, like a new release, which is Varsity Rulebreaker. Tell us about that.
Thank you so much for having me. Varsity Rulebreaker is my upcoming release. It releases on Thursday, October 8th. So I think by the time y'all are seeing this, it's out. And it is book 3 in a series of standalones of sports romances. It's my favorite of the 3. So just to kind of give everyone a little refresher, and in case you don't know about the Varsity series, it starts with Varsity Heartbreaker, and then Varsity Tiebreaker, and Varsity Rulebreaker is my 3rd one. And it's just a group of friends that are all seniors in high school. It's mature YA, more probably closer to new adult. You know, they're all 18 and they do all those things that 18-year-olds do that I don't like to think about because I almost have one. So, and each set of characters kind of has their own story. You get to see the other characters in each book, so it's kind of like getting to know a family of people, but they really can serve as standalone. So I like to tell people they can jump in, you know, wherever they want. If Rulebreaker is your first foray into it, you can jump in there and you would be just fine. Varsity Rulebreaker is about Cannon Jennings and Hollis Taylor. And Cannon Jennings is my stud baseball pitcher, and Hollis is Coach's daughter, and she also happens to be super tomboy and a catcher, and they just moved to town with her dad taking the job, and she's trying out for the team and breaking a lot of rules. And it's a very the books are set in Indiana, you know, in the outskirts, small town outside of Indianapolis, and it's sort of a traditionalist environment where the boys play the sports and the girls cheer on the sidelines, but not for Hollis. So that's kind of the crux of their story, and you know, getting together, breaking some rules, making some people mad, making some guys that are not going to get the starting job on the team mad because Hollis is that good. Yeah, it's my favorite, which baseball is my favorite sport, so naturally.
That's nice. Well, congratulations on the new release. That's awesome. So what number, like how many books does this make for you?
I was just trying to figure that out the other day, and it's funny because we all have so many different like novellas and short stories, so I never know like how to count those, but in terms of full-length novellas, this will make 25. So
wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And when did you write your first book?
So I carried around my first book for like a decade, half done, because I was terrified to show it to anybody, but I released it finally on tax day in 2013, so April 15th in 2013. I thought, wow, I did have something good happen on tax day.
Yeah. And that was it. You just kept writing from there.
I did, yeah. That kind of broke the seal. You know, I carried it around, you know, finally committed to finishing it that last year in 2012, and then I was kind of waffling, like, do I submit it or do I just go ahead and put it out and then let the masses decide if it's any good? The submission process it terrified me, and it was the length of it, and I kind of wanted to get, you know, things moving to see if, you know, if I could do this, and I put it out there, and it was Waiting on the Sidelines. It was my first one, and it's a traditional coming of age story, and it's following a girl through 4 years of high school, and she's a girl with a boy's name. Her dad thought she was going to be a boy when she was born, but so he named her Nolan after his favorite baseball player, Nolan Ryan, and so that book came from, and it's set in small town Arizona. It's high school football, and it's all about, you know, desert parties and being the good girl, but going into high school and, you know, trying to navigate those waters of, you know, girls that, you know, move fast and boys that expect it, and bullying. And I always wanted to write a story that I wished I had when I was a freshman in high school. Yeah. I could kind of help me see myself and navigate those horridly awkward waters. So that's where that book came from, and it will always resonate as one of my favorites and mean the most.
So what is your writing process? I mean, are you a plotter, or you just kind of type and see where it goes?
You know, I'm a little bit of both, I think. I plot more now than I used to, and I think it's because I made a commitment to myself a couple of years ago to try to get organized, which helped a lot. But usually I think of the problem before anything else in the book. book, I think of, I'll think of a couple characters and I'll think of what horrible is going to happen to them. and then I kind of build the story from around there. A good example is I have a book, Wild Reckless, that really kind of touches on mental health. And I thought of that character, the main character in it, Owen Harper, and I thought, what would happen if you were in a small town in Illinois, your family, and you were, this little boy, and your dad is seen as the town crazy, like the town, and his dad does some things. It's not really a surprise, but you see like early on in the book, like the prologue, really, that his dad has a severe mental breakdown and ends up committing suicide. And I wanted to tell a story of what happens to a young boy that grows up with that stigma that the whole town, and that he probably puts on himself as well. So that's usually kind of my process. I think of a thing that, I don't want to call it an issue, but just, it's sort of a common thread that a lot of people feel or face or have dealt with, and then I kind of build a story around that. And it's my plotting, if I dare say I plot, it's pretty loose plotting, and it can be done in the back of a receipt. So
yeah. So since you write YA, like you said, kind of mature YA,
yes.
Do your children read your books? Are they still too young for it?
So I only have a son, and he's only read one because if I could get him to read, it would be great. He reads sports biographies, so he's read the Jeter book. But he has read Crybaby, which was kind of an important book for me to tell, and it was about a teenager growing up in a gang that his dad founded and trying to leave that lifestyle. And it's based a lot on the neighborhood I grew up in, which was a very, very difficult, crime-ridden neighborhood. I saw the teens and the guys that I grew up with as my friends that I've known since kindergarten. And then the expectation that they would go a certain route, in high school, it was almost impossible, and frankly, sometimes impossible for them not to just follow those footsteps and go that route. Right. So that's kind of where the genesis of that story came from. And I think my son was just really interested in it because I've driven him by my old house, to let him know, see, you should feel lucky.
Yeah.
Look at this street.
So what do you have coming up after, you said this was the last in this series. Are you working on another story already?
I actually have a short story that's going to appear in an anthology that comes out November 17th. And it's a holiday, Mistletoe Kisses. It's a holiday anthology, and it's I'm pretty excited. It's a group of us that have gotten together to tell some short stories with familiar characters from books that we have. My story is going to be my Preeter brothers from the Falling series, and I haven't revisited them in a really long time. So I think readers are going to be excited to kind of see where they're at. And it's just a fun holiday short in a cabin, and they with their girlfriends, and chaos ensues. So it's going to be a very fun holiday little candy treasure that I think a lot of us need some of that right now. And it is for charity, and I'm going to completely mess up the name of but it is a charity anthology, and it's a really good one. But it says it in the book description and Mistletoe Kisses, and I hope people check it out. I think they'll love it.
So we both submitted a short story for the One More Step anthology. Was yours new characters, or did you bring out some of your previous characters for this one?
I actually wrote new characters. I love the art of writing a short story. I think it's people that do it well. I'm kind of envious. I love reading Stephen King, and I actually prefer his short stories to his books because he has this ability to, in 10,000 words, just tie this perfect little tale together. I want to be that good one day. So often when I have short story opportunities, I at least half the time I would say I write new characters. And sometimes, they'll turn into a book later. And this one might, I don't know. I wanted to write something that was very, very clean YA, because I knew it was kind of a mix. The One More Step anthology was a really cool mix of authors, and I thought I can bring that to the table. I can bring a story into this anthology that that can be for the teen daughters, and I think
right.
Yeah.
Well, and that was that was a neat concept. All of us having the starting line.
Yes.
One more step would mean certain depth. And, that was such a unique starting point, and seeing where everybody took those different stories.
Yeah.
Because it really, everybody could have gone a different direction. I think everybody did. You could have had really, scary horror. You could have had funny. You could have had very clean. I think it was just an open and benefiting such an amazing organization.
Yes. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I like the writing prompt idea of it. It was pretty cool.
I did too. Yeah, and that's not, I've only done one anthology. So that was, the one I had the other one was just kind of like, okay, here's the time frame that we're working with.
Oh,
but
gotcha.
This one, I actually got stuck with a line, for a good couple of weeks, going, oh my gosh, what I had it in my head like one certain way to do it, and it took me a little bit of getting out of my own head to kind of branch out.
Yeah, what's funny is I kind of expected that was going to happen to me, because we didn't get the line until we knew a line was coming, but we were all kind of waiting for the line. And then as soon as I got the line, I finished the first chapter, probably within the first half hour of getting the line. It just that's what took the story somewhere. And I sat back when I was done, and I was like, that was weird. How did that come out so easily? And yet sometimes I can sit here and stare at the cursor blinking and be like, come on.
Yes.
Yeah. It was funny. It just kind of I know, maybe it just fit my mood, I guess. So
maybe.
Yeah.
So have you ever co-written or, done that before?
Yes, I actually have a duet that I co-wrote with a fellow YA author friend, Ann Elliott. There are no limitations. It was a lot of fun, and the people that have found those books and have read them, we write that under Elliott Scott. So it's both of our.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So do y'all have plans to continue that, or?
Well, that one is done, because there's no one left to kill. And it's a pretty, it was a pretty 180,000 word chunk of, duet. So it's a pretty good saga. But yeah, we'll probably write something else down the road eventually.
So aside from your story that's going into the anthology, are you working on something else that, are you releasing after this coming up?
I probably won't have a release until 2021 after this one. The anthology short, 3 different standalones, and I have them loosely plotted, on my receipts. Weighing, which one do I feel like I want to write first? And we'll see which one rises to the top. And I'm just going to really enjoy the winter, and I think just sink my teeth into something and write something probably really long.
So you mentioned earlier that when you were starting to write, the whole querying process and, submitting and all that stuff. So did you ultimately decide not to go that route and just do indie, or did you actually do some of it?
I went indie with my first several books. I wrote something that I felt was really commercial and marketable in it's funny that I can't remember the year now. I want to say 2016, 2017. And I thought, well, if I'm going to try something, I should try this. Because there is that, even though I know what I know about, independent publishing, especially in the romance genre versus traditional, and I know the control I have, and I know the ease of the process and the timeline, and I definitely know that I will make money faster and probably more of it doing things on my own. There's still always that person that wants to be on a target end cap once.
Yes.
And I think it's probably because of, the YA genre. It is still very paperback driven. if I ever got something traditional, I would want it to be a YA. So I did actually shop the Like Us duet, which is a boy like you and a girl like me. And it's maybe like 5% magical realism. It's 95% straight contemporary, high school, sports, small town, my kind of feel of a duet. But then there's sort of this little 5% overlay. I like to say it's like an M. Night Shyamalan book. It's
okay.
Like you read it and you kind of go like, there's something weird about these characters. What's going on? Kind of like Riverdale. I shopped that, and it bounced around, and it sat in consideration in a few places, and I don't know, I didn't want to wait with it that long. So I took it back and put it out myself. But I'll probably shop something else again, just for that one little check mark that I want to have. So.
Yeah. Oh yeah. One of it's like that goal, like you said, just to once say I did it.
Yeah. I did it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you had any advice to someone who wanted to write, what would your go-to advice be?
Easy. I would tell them to drop the fear, because I regret holding on to that first book I wrote for 10 years and not finishing it because I was afraid to show it to someone. I was afraid of opinions. I was afraid of criticism, afraid of people not liking it. None of that really matters. And there are always going to be people that don't like it. My mom, when I first put my book out, and I got some pretty good reviews right away, and then I got a really terrible review, and I went into open up the box and stuff my face mode, and I can't do this, and I'm a failure. My mom gave me a really good point, and I realized, there's always someone that's not going to like something. If my mom can't like Brad Pitt, then someone's probably not going to like my books, and that's okay.
Right. And so if something now that you knew then, what would be that?
I would let myself know that there are people like me out there that want to do the same thing and want to achieve something, and that are afraid of sharing their work. That there are people that want to read your work and applaud you and push you and make you take that jump, and help you get better. And that sharing it with someone and letting someone read into this little window in your soul is not going to kill you. You think it's gonna, but it's not gonna. And that you're probably a lot tougher than you think.
Some good advice. I think that would resonate with a lot of people.
Yeah. If I could go back and tell myself that, I would.
Yeah. Well, and it's true, because I think when you're, you feel like you're in this boat alone, you don't realize there's a bunch of people in that same boat that have the same fears and everything else. So it makes sense. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that, hindsight is 2020. So
yes, for sure.
Well, thank you so much for taking some time out of your day, and
Absolutely.
Congratulations on your new release. So awesome. Congratulations. And it is Varsity Rulebreaker, which is available where?
It is all on the Varsity series is Amazon, and it's in Kindle Unlimited. So
okay.
I have some books that are Kindle Unlimited and some books that are wide, but this series is all on Kindle Unlimited. So.
Awesome. So everybody can check it out on Amazon and Kindle Unlimited. Well, thank you again, Ginger Scott. Appreciate it. And can't wait to read it.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.